So good morning, everybody. My name is Jonathan Laurence. I am a professor in the political science department here, and it is a real pleasure to welcome you to Boston College this morning. This very exciting and, as far as I know, unprecedented here at BC day-long conference on a closer look at the Turkish model of Islam and democracy is able to take place thanks to the support of truly generous co-sponsors. I'd like to thank in particular the Turkish Cultural Center of Boston, the Islamic Civilization and Societies program at Boston College, the Boise Center for Religion and American Public Life at BC, the Peace Islands Institute, and the Cocalis program at Harvard University. I'd like to give special acknowledgement to everyone who helped bring this day together organizationally and conceptually, including Eric Owens and Brenna Strauss of the Boise Center, Kathleen Bailey of the Islamic Civilizations and Societies program, Elaine Papulias of Cocalis, as well as Birol Öztürk and his team at TCC and PII. Thank you all really very, very much for helping make this happen. So we're extremely lucky to have a distinguished lineup of scholars for today's conference, and our conversations are going to be informed by the perspectives really of multiple disciplines in the social sciences especially, but as you can see in the program, we'll be examining in turn three aspects of the relationship between Islam and democracy in Turkey. We will begin with a panel on Islam and politics, followed by a panel discussion on Turks abroad, and finally this afternoon a panel on Turkey and the Arab Spring. At lunchtime there will be a keynote speech on contemporary Islamic renewal and reform. So I'd just like to briefly frame the topic of our first panel on Islam and politics. Since we have two of really the top experts in the field, I won't try to give an overview except to maybe give a little bit of political context and why this is such an interesting topic to be discussing this week. We're approaching the second year of the third term of AK Party dominance in Turkey, so going on nearly a decade in power. And so it seems like an appropriate moment to ask what their dominance has meant. What has the role of the Party of Justice and Development been for the balance of religion and politics in Turkey? Now, the government's objective legislative achievements have, on the one hand, really inspired hope, I think, in a lot of people that Turkey's democratization will be completed. And we've witnessed in particular how the government has introduced liberalizations in the religious sphere, including increasing religious liberties. And for many, this is really seen, I think, as an appropriate return of the pendulum to a less repressive atmosphere than under single-party rule or military rule and its aftermath. On the other hand, others see in the return of religion a more sinister development. And there are those who remain concerned about the religious influence on the public sphere and who wonder about the fate of this specifically Turkish model of Islam and politics that was honed in stops and starts over the course of the 20th century. So at the beginning of this government's time in power, I think critics were really looking for any signs that it would be trying to Islamicize society, and they pointed to local restrictions or hesitations to post provocative advertising or to grant liquor licenses and the like. There were reports of women who were overtly secular feeling less comfortable in a Turkey governed by the AK Party. Others have said, well, what does this really amount to? What are the large projects of reform that this government has actually imposed or tried to impose? And they point, for example, to this week's education reform project, which was debated in Parliament, as you know, and which would, of course, reform the educational system, including strengthening the role played by religious schools like the one that the Prime Minister attended. So, given this trend of liberalization of individual religious rights, on the one hand, and this other move to bring religion more, and to anchor it really more comfortably in the public sphere, it's fair to ask what will become of this traditional role played by the state in the religious sphere, and what are the long-term implications for Islam's status in Turkey. Now, this is clearly a topic about which many people inside and outside of Turkey have very passionate beliefs. Some of that passion actually spilled over into the House of Parliament this week during the debate about the educational reform. But I'm very grateful that we have here to give us perspective on the broader context and meaning of these developments. Two speakers who are really among the foremost experts on Islam and democracy in Turkey and in other Western democracies as well. To the far left, Professor Berna Turam is Associate Professor of Sociology and International Affairs at Northeastern University. She is the author of Between Islam and the State, The Politics of Engagement. She received her PhD and Master's from McGill University and her BA from Bosphorus University. Professor Ahmed Kuru is Associate Professor of Political Science at San Diego State University. He is the co-editor of the volume Democracy, Islam, and Secularism in Turkey, and the author of Secularism and State Policies Towards Religion, the United States, France, and Turkey. Professor Kuru received his PhD and Master's from the University of Washington, and Bachelor's of Science from Bilkent University, Ankara. So thank you both for being here. I'm really grateful, and Professor Turam, I turn first to you.